There are 8 comic book movies dropping for the year 2020 from 4 different studios. In this Comic Power special report, we're going to go over all of them individually. Welcome back to Comic Power. I'm your host, Comic Killer 72. And you're watching a special report about all the comic book films for 2020. If you're a fan of the medium, it's a good time to be alive. There's a lot of different choices. Please subscribe to this channel and also click on the notification bell as well. It will remind you when new videos come out. Alright, now let's get right into it. As I stated earlier, there are 8 comic book films dropping this year, and some history is being made because 3 of them have female leads. This is going to kill that old adage that female-led comic book movies don't sell, which isn't true. They got a bad rap from the failures of movies such as Supergirl, Elektra, and Catwoman. These films didn't fail because they had a female lead. These films failed because they were just bad movies. Films such as Green Lantern, R.I.P.D. and the latest reboot of Hellboy also crashed at the box office, but no one said they failed because they had male leads. So yes, I am pro gender equality, and gender equality is based on merit and not these old outdated stereotypes of the past. Think about it, Wonder Woman has been universally popular since she came out in 1940, but it took to 2016, 76 years later, for her to appear in a movie. In 2017, she got her own movie, which was a huge success at the box office. And then in 2019, despite the worst efforts of trolls trying to sabotage it, the Captain Marvel movie was the first female-led comic book movie to make $1 billion at the box office. Okay, let me get off my soapbox and let's do what we came here today for. As I go over all 8 films, I will go over what makes me excited about it and what makes me nervous about it. Well, strap on your seatbelt because here we go. Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey from DC Films. It drops on February 7th, and it's going to be the first comic book movie of 2020. Margot Robbie is returning as Harley Quinn, and despite the unevenness of Suicide Squad, she was a real standout in that film, and she's just perfect casting for this character. Based on the trailers that have dropped, we're getting the emancipation of Harley Quinn, where she breaks free of the Joker and becomes her own standalone character, just like in the comics. We've also been promised a R rating for this film, which sounds obvious now, but before Deadpool, studios were nervous that an R rating would restrict who would see the film and kill the box office. But after Deadpool and Logan and now the Joker making $1 billion with an R rating, best believe that movie studios will never try to stuff R-rated material into a PG-13 box ever again, except for Disney. Anyway, Black Mask is the villain, and the Huntress and the Black Canary will make their movie debuts. So yeah, I'm excited for this, to see Harley Quinn in a leading role. Seriously, she hasn't been in a movie in 4 years. The only thing I'm nervous about is, are they going to try to stuff too many characters in this movie like they did on the Suicide Squad? You have to give an origin story to Black Mask, Black Canary, and the Huntress without bogging the movie down with too many origin stories. In saying that, my excitement for this film is very high. Next is Bloodshot, dropping on March 13th, 2020 from Sony Pictures. This is the first Valiant Universe live action film. And action star Vin Diesel is going to be playing the title character, Ray Garrison, aka Bloodshot. If you're not that familiar with the character, I'll put a link in the description and it'll go over his origin. What makes me excited about this movie is it's the first time ever I get to see the Valiant characters in a live action film. It's sort of like 1978 in Superman, where you set the bar low. You're just glad to see it. But I have a lot to be nervous about because the trailers didn't really show us these specific unique things about Bloodshot. It just looked like a generic action film starring Vin Diesel. I hope they don't mess this up. I've been a big fan of Valiant since 1992, and characters like Shadow Man, Ninjak, Exo Man of War, and the Harbinger Renegades are excellent characters, but we're never going to see them if this movie fails. Please, please, pretty please with sugar on it. Can you please be good, Bloodshot? Please be good. Bottom line, I'm extremely excited to see Bloodshot in a film for the first time, but extremely nervous about how this is going to go. Next is New Mutants, dropping on April 13th from Fox Studios, which now has been consumed by Disney. This movie was filmed in 2017 and was supposed to drop in April 2018, but has been pushed back for 2 years. That's not a good sign. That's usually the sign that a movie is a disaster and they're looking for the right time and place to dump it. As stated, this movie was in development before Fox got bought out by Disney, and I thought that Disney would just shelve the project or sell it to Netflix or something. But allegedly, they basically reshot most of it, and they're trying to salvage this to try to get some return on it. What makes me interested in this project is, what are they going to do with Magic? That character is the younger sister of Colossus. She's known for that big huge sword. But am I excited for this movie? Not really. Am I nervous? I'm probably even more nervous than Bloodshot on this. Next up is going to be Black Widow, which is going to drop on May 1st, 2020. And this is from the all-powerful Marvel Cinematic Universe. Scarlett Johansson is back to reprise her character, and let's face it, a Black Widow solo project is way overdue. I mean, who doesn't love a spy action drama thriller? So am I excited? I'm highly excited. We should have got this prequel movie a long time ago about her origin. There are two things to be nervous about, and number one is the timeline. ScarJo first appeared as Black Widow in Iron Man 2 in 2010. She was about 25 years old at the time. Now it's the year 2020 and she's 35 years old. So now at 35 years old, she's going to play the character younger than she was when she was 25 years old. There's CGI and makeup, but I'm still curious to see how they're going to pull that off. And then there's the rating. Marvel has already said they're going to make this PG-13. They're not going to try to make this rated R, even though the character pre-Avengers is a bloodthirsty Russian assassin. So DC is taking the gloves off of Harley, but Marvel is not doing so with Black Widow. I hope it doesn't hurt the project. In saying that, I'm definitely excited to see this movie. Next is Wonder Woman 1984, coming out on June 5th, 2020 from DC Films. Gal Gadot is back to reprise her character as Princess Diana, and it's taking place in the 1980s, hence the name. And I'm very excited to see this movie because the first one, just like Captain America, was an origin story taking place in wartime. And in explaining the origin, it basically slows down the movie. So we can get right into the action in this. The only thing I'm nervous about is that the villain is going to be Cheetah, played by Kristen Wiig, and this character can be very campy if it's not done right. But Patty Jenkins is returning as director and Jeff Johns is returning as lead writer. So in their hands, I feel confident it will be good. So yes, I'm excited to see this. Next is Morbius, coming out on July 31st, 2020 from Sony Pictures. Jared Leto did not survive the shakeup over at Warner Brothers. So yeah, he's out as the Joker, but he has landed on his feet as Dr. Michael Morbius over at Sony. Morbius the Living Vampire is not known to a lot of people outside comics. He made his first appearance in Amazing Spider-Man 101 back in 1971. What makes me excited to see this movie is I'm a fan of the 1970s monster and horror comics, so to see these characters depicted in live action is cool. What makes me nervous is that this character is not very well known, so to throw him out there without establishing him in the Spider-Man universe first, to me is kind of a mistake. I think the character best belongs in a crossover with Blade and Moon Knight and the Midnight Suns and Ghost Rider, but since his origin is in Spider-Man, that makes him a Spider-Man product, which means he belongs to Sony and they get to do what they want to do with him. So I would say I'm more curious than I am excited to see this movie, and nervous because I'm not sure if the character can stand on his own outside of the Marvel Monster universe. Speaking of monsters, that brings us to Venom 2, which is coming out October 2nd, also from Sony Pictures. Tom Hardy is returning as the lead character, Eddie Brock, aka Venom. The first one to me was just okay, but you knew you were going to get a sequel when it made $856 million on a $120 million budget. And we know that the villain is going to be Carnage, played by Woody Harrelson. That piece of information makes this movie very hard to ignore. The character of Carnage first appears in issue 360, and continuing through issue 361, 362, and 363, Spider-Man and Venom both have to team up to defeat this common foe. Unfortunately, we're not getting that in live action yet. Maybe one day. So am I excited about Venom 2? Well, a little curious about what they do with Carnage. Am I nervous? Not really. I'm more like disappointed because we can't really get the Spider-Man universe the way we want because Sony owns it in terms of the movie rights. And Sony's mission seems to be milk every last dollar they can out of the Spider-Man universe while not knowing what they're doing, and I always have to go back to Marvel to fix it. As you can see, I'm not a big fan of Sony at all. That brings us to The Eternals, coming out on November 2nd, 2020 from the MCU. Marvel normally comes out with 3 movies a year, but due to the firing and then rehiring controversy surrounding James Gunn, Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3 got pushed back. So Black Widow and The Eternals, that's it for the MCU this year. So what are we getting with The Eternals? Well, it's going to be Kirby, Cosmic, Creative, Chaotic Continuity. Try to say that 5 times fast. The premise is that there are ancient aliens that have been living on Earth for thousands of years. But after the events of what happened in Avengers Endgame, they come out of the shadows, and they must battle their arch enemies, the Deviants. The biggest name in this project is probably going to be Angelina Jolie, who's going to be playing Thena. So am I excited for this film? Of course I am. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is like Steph Curry at the free throw line. He's going to hit 90% of the time. And we're going to see some new characters we never saw before, and we get to see a bigger idea of what makes the whole universe tick. More explanation and backstory can't hurt. The only thing I'm even remotely nervous about is that these characters are gods, and the tone is going to be very serious. And being that the characters are not very well known, will they connect with casual audiences that are seeing these movies? They tried this with Thor Part 1 and Part 2, and it didn't work as well as they have liked. So in Ragnarok, they took a page out of the Guardians of the Galaxy and beefed up the comedy. In saying that, I am excited for a Eternals movie. The Eternals franchise made its first appearance in comics back in 1976 with Eternals #1. Alright folks, that's my advanced review for all 8 comic book movies dropping for 2020. Which movie are you most excited about seeing? Which movie are you least excited about seeing? You know the drill. Be sure to subscribe to this channel, give it a thumbs up, and share these videos on social media so other people learn about the channel. And don't forget, I do sell comics at my eBay page listed here with a link in the description. One Stop Thrift and Comic Power are run by the same guy. That would be me, Comic Killer 72. I have 100% feedback, by the way. And once again, thank you to my subscribers and viewers who support Comic Power. Until next time, this is Comic Killer 72 for Comic Power saying bye-bye.